Making music doesn't have to be complicated. Let me show you how to make a full song in Ableton Live using only 2 tracks. Let's go. Hi everyone and welcome back to a new video on the channel. It's been a while. If you're here for the first time, welcome. My name is Kvndra. I'm an electronic musician and a live act. And in today's video, I want to do a little breakdown of my new track Traum, which I made in Ableton Live. The track is part of my upcoming EP So Finster die Nacht, which will be out on April 30th. But already today, when this video is released, I'm releasing exclusively on my website a digital deluxe edition. And apart from the songs in WAV format, the artwork and everything, you will also find 3 Ableton Live project files directly on there. So if that's something you're into, head to my website. The link is down in the video description, and it's also a great way to support me and my work. But now let's get going with the project. Alright, so here we are in Ableton Live, and as you can see, it's really just 2 tracks, track number 1, track number 2, and the third track I just used to record here kind of like the final file that I then sent off for mastering. But it's not really needed, so I'll turn it off for now. And my idea with that track was really to create something ambient, but that's always shaping and evolving. And I'll play you a little bit of it now to give you a little understanding of what the track sounds like. Yeah, I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what the track sounds like. I really like the evolving arps, the textures, and how everything plays into each other. And let me quickly give you a breakdown of how it's done. The first track, let me solo that, is Dyad. If you're not familiar with the device, Dyad is a 2-oscillator synthesizer by Force Instruments. It's an absolute fantastic device that I used a lot in my recent music making process. I will also do another video on it, especially around the Push 3, because it has some great integration with Push 3 standalone. But let me show you how it sounds like. And it also changes patterns. So if I go here to the to some of the next scenes, you can see that the patterns are getting richer and richer. And basically what it does, it constantly changes values. So the way how the synth works is basically you place in these steps here in the sequencer, and then you have below here in these rows kind of like the modulation rows, and this determines how each step is modulated in terms of frequency, but also in terms of noise, in terms of decay, and so on. You can already see here that kind of like, especially with the second oscillator, that the modulation is not equal to kind of like the steps here. So as steps, we have 13, and as modulation steps we have 14. So 13 already being an uneven number, so that the pattern is constantly changing, but then also the modulation is constantly changing because it's never repeating in the same way, and this way you get kind of like this always evolving patch, never really sounding quite the same. Then moving on, you can already see here there's a lot of movement going on. We have a filter and a retour. Retour also is from Force Instrument. It's a delay device with the extremely nice overdrive integrated, so you get this distorted delay sounds, which I really like in the atmosphere of this song. And you can see that especially these parameters, this is the width of the delay, this is the drive of the delay, and this is kind of like, yeah, the filter from the auto filter, and that is modulated by a modulator called Module. It's also from Force Instruments, so I've been using their stuff quite a bit. And yeah, it's basically how it works is you also have these steps in here, pretty similar as you have here on the Dyad. And for every step, it changes the value. So it's kind of like an LFO, but you can set per step the values in a way you want to set them. So as this moves on here, you can see the filter jump around, and also, yeah, these parameters being constantly changed and modulated. And I really like the effect. You can also set the smoothness here. So if I just set it back, it's more like a square. You can see here it's really just jumping between the values. But if you smooth it a little bit, gets this really nice movement where it moves between the different values. And then just some mixing, so some EQing here, some compression. I used 2 compressors on it because the sounds were very, it had a lot of dynamics. So I used 2 glue compressors, and in the end also a clipper to slightly level the sound so that it gets even a little bit more compressed, which I really liked in that context. And to round it off, I send it here to my Send Effect A, which is a reverb and another reverb behind. So it's basically a basic Ableton Live reverb and then Valhalla Supermassive, giving it this really nice room. So this is just the reverb, just giving it another room, but this one here really giving it this long tail, which is one of the main characteristics of that song. Okay, then we have track number 2, which is an Ableton Live device, which I called Tipsy. And Tipsy because it has this tipsy knob here, which makes the sound a little bit detuned, and you can play around with that really nicely to give the song a little bit tangent. Then what I did throughout the jam is kind of like I started very smoothly in the beginning with a cut off quite a lot down, and then building basically the song up from there, opening the cutoff, but also opening the amp decay and the filter decay. And then you can pretty quickly, if you go to the main theme, you can get a little bit extreme with that. You can also change the oscillator 1 shape to give it a little bit of a glassy sound. Maybe also some attack. And this way you can completely morph the sound and create a very interesting sound progression over time when the song evolves without the need of further other instruments. So just remember, we had this and we came from this. So big change in sound, and it's also going through the reverb send. just again to create this nice tail of sound. And yeah, from maybe just a little breakdown what the device actually is. I'm using here, let's zoom in a little bit. I'm using here an arpeggiator combined with a drift synthesizer, really nice device. And then I have an EQ8 just for some equalization, so that we can kind of like, yeah, shape the sound in a way that it fits to the other track. I wanted to reduce all the low end from it because the Dyad track is already providing that. Then we have some delay and also some filter delay, which I really like on this sound. So let me start it again. So if we now go here to the filter delay, and if I turn it off, yeah, you can hear it slightly, but the filter delay is really adding some nice depth to the sound, which I really like. Then another reverb on it, because I found it sounded a little bit too dry, just like this. So I placed a reverb directly on the track, and then used the new raw saturation device or distortion device from Ableton, which I think sounds really cool. And then this is also what creates kind of like a little bit of this wobbly sound, so to say. This is the tape flutter, and what it does, it's mapped here in the macros to the tipsy, and it gives us this tipsy feeling. It's really nice. It's an effect chain from Ableton Live. If you go to your effect racks and then to presets, you can find it there, and I think yeah, it sounds really nice. Then again, some saturation to bring up the signal a little bit, and then again some clipping to catch some of the peaks and make the sound a little bit more smoother and not so dynamic. And yeah, that's all the track has, as I said, together. I think it creates a super nice atmosphere. And you can see, even if I don't do anything, it keeps evolving in a really, really nice way. And yeah, I think this is really the trick when working like that, is try to squeeze the most out of your tracks and see if you really need any other elements. Of course, you could argue here in this track you could add some percussion elements or whatever, but I really felt that the pureness of these two instruments interacting with each other already made the track, yeah, interesting and evolving enough over time to, yeah, to keep listeners engaged and to tell a story throughout the whole track. Sometimes really simplicity wins, and I felt when I had these two elements, I don't need anything more. So yeah, when you make music, always ask yourself the question, where am I with my music? Is it really that it's already maybe overloaded? Does it need other elements, or can I leave it like that and tweak the elements that I already have and make them a little bit more prominent in the track to carry the music and also the emotions that I try to bring across? And yeah, that's already it for this breakdown. Just a very small glimpse into my new EP on what's coming. It's also sound-wise something different than I have done before. So yeah, again, if you want to support that, the Digital Deluxe Edition is already out today. You can find it on my website. The link is down in the description. And if you want to do a deep dive into this project file and also 2 other project files from the EP, you can find all of that on my website. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate that. Now I'm wishing you an amazing day, and I can't wait to share more music with you at the release next week. Stay tuned for that, and I see you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.